Hi, I'm Thomas Mancala, and today I'm prepared to die on this hill. I think the Make America Great Again hat is a good design. Now you might be thinking, what makes you qualified to talk about this? And to answer your question that you haven't really asked, I'm a graphic design major. I'm still working on getting the degree, but it is my major, and I do know some design stuff. So what makes the Make America Great Again hat, or MAGA hat, a good design? Well, for one thing, it's a really simple design. It's just a red hat with white text. And because it's such a simple design, it means it's cheap to produce. So that means you can make a lot of them, for not that much money. But I'll get back to that later. Another thing that makes the design really good is it's red. There's a saying in the design world that I think perfectly exemplifies the MAGA hat. If you can't make it good, make it big. And if you can't make it big, make it red. Just think about how many companies feature a red and white logo. There's Target, Coca-Cola, CNN, State Farm, Canada, and there's quite a few reasons for this. In most languages, after black and white, red is the first color. And it also has a lot of different perceived meanings and emotions. Red is the second most popular favorite color, and after yellow, it's the second most visible color. But unlike yellow, red is actually liked. So with being the second most popular and second most visible color, it makes red a good choice if you want your product to be visible but still generally popular. And you definitely want that for apparel that doubles as advertisement. Another reason it's such an effective design is that it's instantly recognizable. Much like this sign, you don't have to read it to understand it. You already knew what it said without having to closely read it, and I'll prove it to you in a couple of ways. First, you probably didn't notice that there was a spelling error. Second, you probably didn't notice how bad the design actually looks. This is the official hat from the official store, and at a quick glance it looks fine, but if you really take a look at it, you can see that there's a lot kinda wrong with it, and I'll point those out. Sorry if you own one of these hats and suddenly hate it after this. The most glaring issue with this hat is the kerning, or lack thereof. For those who don't know, kerning is the amount of space between characters, and good designers know that not all space is created equal, and that sometimes in order for something to look right, you have to adjust the individual spaces between certain letters. Now if we take a closer look at the text on the hat, you can see that there's some spaces there that look pretty wonky. In the first line, the A in America is pretty far to the left, and the E and the R are really close together. On the second line, the T is really far from the rest of the word great. The I is a little close to the N in again, and I think the most egregious thing in this whole thing is how far away that A is from that G in again. It almost looks like two separate words. And this is the official MAGA hat. And the kerning isn't the only thing wrong with this design. The two G's are different. The first G does not have a little spur, but the second one does. Also, the height of the letters is inconsistent throughout the design. I mean, look how short that R is in great compared to the G and the E. But there's a really good chance you never even noticed those things. But you'll never be able to look at that hat again without seeing those. My point to making everybody more angry at the hat was to prove that it doesn't have to be a good design to be a good design. Chances are they probably didn't pay somebody a lot to design this, or even at all. Which brings me back to my other point about it's very cheap to produce these. If you wanted to buy an official MAGA hat, it would cost you $25. Now, I couldn't find how much it actually costs to produce the hat, but I did some research and typically apparel is marked up 55 to 60%. So let's say that they're marked up 60%. That would mean each hat costs only $10 to make, and that they're making $15 of profit for each one. And as of last year, over 1 million have been sold. Now, using a formula that's probably too complicated for anyone to understand, we can estimate that they've made $15 million. That's probably a conservative guess. But profit isn't the only advantage. The hats are also free advertisement. Well, technically, less than free advertisement. And I think if you can get somebody to pay to advertise your cause, I'd say that's pretty successful. And because of the cause that these hats advertise, they have a lot of notoriety. And sadly enough, in this world, doing bad things gets a lot of publicity. And you know what they say, there's no such thing as bad publicity. A good example of this is the Paul brothers. They do bad thing after bad thing, but it just makes them more popular. And I think the hat has benefited from the exact same thing. I'm sure a lot of hats have been bought just to make people mad. The final thing that I think made this hat a good design was the 4 words embroidered on it. Flashback to 2016. 2 people are battling it out to see who is America's least hated person, and one of them uttered these 4 words.
Make America great again.
Now you can't really deny it's a good catchphrase, because it does exactly what a catchphrase is supposed to do. It reminds me a lot of Zooey Mama from Diary of a Wimpy Kid. It doesn't really mean anything, but it's still kind of fun to say. In the end, all these things combined made for a really effective design, which in the end is the main goal of any design. It doesn't really matter how good it looks if it doesn't get the point across. And while the MAGA hat definitely doesn't look that good, it certainly is effective at getting its point across. That's all I've got to say about the MAGA hat. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun talking about this. And if you have any design topics that you want me to talk about, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.